a
We
good
just need you to come up with a signature tagline.
little sarcasm coming from the peanut gallery yesterday. But here we're gonna we're gonna be joined now by Elliot Leonard to discuss RFX. And Elliot, man, first off, welcome into our show.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been listening for the last couple of minutes. It's been entertaining, to say the least.
Well, we try to be entertaining as much as we possibly can, but here first and foremost, we have not formally announced our partnership, but I think this would be a great chance to do that. So we have formed a partnership with RFX in regards to helping, again, share what it is that they do and how great that they've been able to, in such a short time, be able to really answer this call of being what I would consider to be, as I push this off the screen, apologize. But as we talk about this partnership and how we're going to talk about transforming the college recruitment process, it's one that with the transfer portal and with how things have happened over the last 10 years in college athletics, this is something that's much needed in the space. And I'll obviously have you do, your job of explaining really what it is that RFX is all about and how you're meeting the demands of these student athletes.
Yeah, so really simply, over the last 15, 20 years, the college recruitment niche has really been overtaken by monopolies, right? We have NCSA, Be Recruited, who are all owned by IMG and their affiliates. So there's really just been this one massive over-entitled company that has not done anything to 15 years, except for buy up little competitors of themselves, so that they could still reign in as the largest and most used college recruitment agency out there. That pisses me off when it gets to a point where there is no reason to better themselves and help the actual customer that they're servicing. That's where my frustration came from, and that's the reason that we built RFX. And in today's college recruitment landscape, everything should be automated. Everything should be simplified. Everything should be really simple for the end user. And that's what we've done. We've created an automation and intelligence platform that helps college recruitment move forward without parents having to be pulling their hair out, spending a ton of time, not understanding where their kid and what level they should be at. So all these different hurdles and roadblocks that we run into in the college recruitment process have really been fixed and done differently than the typical NCSA type of landscape that's been out there currently. So we're looking forward to this opportunity with National Soccer Network because not only do we have the opportunity to create a massive and impactful company for college recruitment, but we also do for name, image, and likeness. And I think that's, one of the next steps that is going to really help student athletes, especially those student athletes that need, a bit more financial assistance through school. They could really lay into the name, image, and likeness and have a real nice piece of money to put towards college. It's really cool.
No, it really is cool. The question I have for you here, I think, is the next one is what makes you different, right? I think that when you start talking about this process, right, and I would imagine that a lot of clubs deal with this, obviously, from the standpoint of a player that wants to go to the next level. All right, they're usually probably the first place that these players probably turn to. And then once they've turned there, maybe not have the answer they're looking for, don't have that support, then they're going to go out somewhere else and they're going to try to find that on their own. And so I think it's important to maybe have an understanding of what makes you different compared to everybody else. And then more importantly, how do these players interact with your organization in order to get to where they want to go?
Yeah, it's a great question. So what's different about us? Besides what I just mentioned as far as automation, we've actually taken the recruitment process from a different perspective, which is most student athletes do not have a good understanding of what level they should be playing at. We're in a pay-to-play system, so oftentimes that communication between the club director, the parents, the student athlete, they just don't understand what levels they should be targeting. What RFX does is we send these correspondents out to college coaches, and college coaches are the ones who are actually responding, whether they're interested or not interested in the student athlete. So instead of creating a list of 50 schools that you and your son or daughter are going to start going through over the next 6 months to a year, not knowing whether they're interested or not in your kid, we have gone ahead and we've automated the outreach process and then automated the interest process, meaning we know that these schools are now interested in these athletes, in my kid. So I can now have a good conversation with Lehigh, with Bucknell, with Lafayette, because I know there's interest on my behalf. Does that make sense as we spell this out here on camera?
No, I think it does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think, and I know, Nathan, you have a question that you want to get in as well. You know, when we talk about recruitment, it is, especially in today's world, you know, we talk to college coaches all the time, and they're like, hey, I'm not really, to be fair, I mean, we have to obviously recruit players, but we're not necessarily looking for freshmen. We're looking for sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And so the player pool is much different. And so how do you stand out? How do you get yourself into that situation where you could be the one that stands out? Also be top of mind in the email box. And the thing that separates you is that the coach doesn't have to go anywhere, right? They're at their computer, they get an email, it's all there, right? And compared to a lot of other sites, you have to go someplace, click through, you got to probably pay for a membership and all this other stuff, some things that are very prohibitive of maybe growth and access. You guys have cut that right out of the mix and said, hey, it's just going to come to you. Here you go.
Yeah. As a former college coach at the Division I level, I knew exactly what we were looking for when an email would come in, when a conversation would start, right? And what was that? So for a college coach, we need to go through this quickly and efficiently and effectively. So we need to be able to see a highlight video first and foremost, right? Highlight video with key pieces of information on the highlight video. And that's another place where we differentiate ourselves, right? We're giving coaches a snapshot so that they can make a really quick decision on whether or not they're going to move forward and invest time and allocate time and money into seeing this player in person. The first step is always going to be the highlight video. We're adding some more information. We're adding some efficiency and effectiveness to that video for the student athlete and the parent, so that coach can then really quickly make a good assessment of whether or not they want to spend more time down the road looking into this athlete, right? And the reason why that's so important is because, one, you've mentioned, there's so much competition today, right? Internationals are a massive part of the landscape that we're currently in with college recruitment. There's no number of players that a coach can't recruit from overseas. And then the transfer portal is also massively important. So to answer your questions a bit more specifically, we want to make sure we're getting out early and often to college coaches. I'd say starting in the 9th grade, especially male and female athletes even more so, getting in front of the right college coaches at the right time, and providing them with the best video introduction that they could possibly provide, so that a college coach is really interested on who you are, what you are, and how you're going to go about this process, and how you're going to impact them and their program in the next 4 years.
And I think it's interesting since, you are a former coach, you kind of understand how the landscape has changed. And that's something that we've had multiple conversations about on this podcast. And I think it's interesting because something that was adopted by the NCAA in the transfer portal really originally could have been looked at as an opportunity for a lot of student athletes to maybe move up or move to somewhere that's better, or maybe you go from a D2, D3 to a D1. There was a lot of good intentions behind that. But now you look at it, and you also look at rosters obviously being constricted in the NCAA now. It might actually take away opportunities, not just from transfers, but also from recruits at the same exact time, because people get bogged down because of that change. And obviously now it's so saturated that people are going to start losing out on opportunities. Are you finding that that's impacting your business in terms of maybe placing athletes at the level that you think they deserve to be at? As in, maybe they're playing at a lower level because of that. There's just not many opportunities out there. What does that look like?
really phenomenal question, the way you worded it. This is how I can respond. I do not believe that it's impacting my business in a negative way, nor is it impacting families and student athletes' lives in a negative way. It's impacting it, and it's creating a different road or different, opportunity in a different lane that you need to be open to, right? So we used to have, and we still do have, a lot of student athletes that are playing at the MLS next level, the ECNL level on the female side, right? Top players that have an expectation that they're going to play Division One. The way we always say it at RFX is expectations are premeditated resentments, right? So if we have this one understanding that we're only going to go here, and we don't make it, and that doesn't come to fruition, we're going to be frustrated. Student athletes and parents need to have an open mind, especially in today's environment of college recruitment, of what their son or daughter's actual next 4 or 5 years are going to look like, right? It's not going to be, I'm going to North Carolina and I'm going to impact that program from day one. Most likely, freshmen, even at a high level, might have to go and take a 5th year, just like 20 years ago, the NBA did. All the stars coming out of high school would take a 5th year right before college so that they could get bigger, stronger, faster. And that's what a lot of the student athletes are going to have to do today. So I hope I answered your question. And if I didn't, fill me in a little bit more. But that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that more people need to be more open-minded about the trajectory of what their son or daughter's next 4 to 5 years are going to look like.
You think the D1 or bust mentality for some athletes can be harmful? You were talking about setting up expectations. Yeah,
it's the worst. It's the worst thing in the world, and it's really difficult to have conversations with parents and student athletes and run a business. And it's one of the main core reasons that I stopped working individually one-on-one with parents, because it was an uphill battle. And it's not the parents' fault, right? It's the information that they've been giving over such a long period of time, telling them that their kid is the best and is going to thrive in this situation. So that's what they've been told. And now it's very difficult for them to get out of that mindset. So breaking that mindset is basically impossible.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. Yeah, I've always thought, I think there's situations for everybody out there. I think it's fit. I think that's the thing that matters the most. I've seen great players at Division II. I've seen great players at NAI levels. I mean, you're going to get opportunities if you're able to go out and produce on the field. So, no, 100%. I just think that's kind of where it is, at least for some of these young kids. It's D1 or bust. And if you're not in Division I, well, you're not much. I don't agree with that. And obviously, with the way the landscape is now, if you can find a place where you're playing consistently, go take that opportunity. It really doesn't matter where it is, in my opinion.
I think you said it perfectly. Because then it just leads to more opportunity down the line. If you're not in it, you can't win it, right? So you got to place yourself in there. Really well said.
Obviously, we're here on Inside the Game, episode 143, continuing our conversation with Elliot Leonard here from RFX Recruiting. And Elliot, my next question is this. First off, how do people find RFX, right? If I'm an athlete, how do I find out about you, and what does it all entail?
Yeah, so you go to gorfx.app online. You could find us on all the social medias at Recruit Fluency. So RFX is powered by Recruit Fluency, which is just the major brand that we have. So not to get confused, just to make it pretty simple for you, our app is called RFX Soccer, and you could find that in the Apple and the Google Play Store online. What we're going to do when you download our app is we're going to make it super simple. It's going to take you 10 minutes to fill out your profile. And then we're going to ask you whether or not you want to upload a highlight video. And at that time, would you like us to start sending your contact information and profiles out to college coaches? Once you've done that, in the next 24 hours, we're going to start matching you with the best schools that are perfect for you on the athletic side, the academic side, based on what what is the information you input into your profile. And then you'll start hearing back from college coaches whether they're interested within 24 to 48 hours. It's been the complete opposite of what you should expect from a college recruitment agency. And that's what's been really awesome to see, is the impact of these communications and these conversations so early in the process, which is unlike anything else out there.
If we look at, the recruitment process as a whole, and your competition, which there's a lot of competition out there in this space. Would you consider yourself the most expensive? Would you consider yourself on the lower side? Where would you put yourself? And because obviously money is always an important conversation about this, right? These kids are juniors, sophomores, seniors. They're thinking about applying to college. That costs money. So where does RFX fit into all that?
Yeah. So for 1 year, it's going to cost you $499. That $499 is probably going to be one of the best ways you've ever spent that money. Whether you're spending $300 on a pair of new cleats, you're spending $300 on jerseys and things like this. Spend it where your son or daughter is going to get maximum exposure from an early age so that they could get on the radars of college coaches. Once they're on the radar and they continue to have visibility from our platform, it's a game changer. Now coaches can very easily decide whether or not it's worth having a conversation with your kid. And even if it's not, that is so impactful and important from a financial point of view, because you've just saved so much time knowing that maybe your kid's not the best fitted Duke. So that's our annual. And then we have a monthly, which is $79 a month. The fact that we've had so much response from college coaches so early on, what I would say is get your highlight video from the National Soccer Network. They do an incredible job to have their highlight videos. That's one of the main reasons we've partnered together. Fill out your profile, spend $79 for month one, and see how much traction you get, because I can guarantee you from a personal parent perspective, you will have a really good understanding of where your kid is with just 1 month of RFX soccer.
No, it's really cool because so our highlight video programs here at NSN, we normally charge $249 for that one video, right? 3 to 5 minutes, 15 to 20 clips. With our partnership with Elliott and RFX, that's $199 on their app. And so, you'll save money by actually going into their app and getting the recruitment process started, because you're only making these videos anyways if you're getting recruited. Okay, so, you're not going to go through the process of making these videos unless you're just really, you want to have a cool sick highlight video, I guess. It's not going to get you into college, but that's cool too.
I mean, I think one of the most important aspects of the college recruitment process is to get your highlight video done professionally. There's no doubt, right? So we can think we understand as a parent, as a player, what should be on there, which is, oh, this looks great. This was a great goal. Well, how much time did you have on the ball before that goal was scored? Did you have 5 seconds? Because if you did, that's probably not a clip that we want in there, because it's just showing that defensively, the team you're playing against is not at a high level, right? So there's these small nuances that parents need to understand of why we actually go and get something done professionally. And I think NSN is definitely the place to get the highlight video done. It will give you a massively impactful, lead up on the competition.
And my last question is this. We've been talking about this, and you're in this world, so it's good to pick your brain a little bit about this. But how important is it for coaches to hear from a player? Because I in this process, I feel like that's a part that's missed where, okay, you see this athlete, they can score goals, but to be fair, how they perform on a field is extremely important. But how are they communicating? I mean, how are they going to handle themselves? Are those things that matter from the perspective of a coach where, hey, I had this highlight video and maybe I can hear the player talk for a few moments? Is that a valuable thing that we're missing in this highlight world, or is it, don't care, just want the 2-minute video and let's move on?
It's exceptionally valuable later down the road. the first thing that parents need to understand is that coaches have one job, which is to win, right? So is it important that a student athlete is going to communicate properly, that is going to look into the camera, is going to do certain things? 100%. But the first thing a college coach is going to look at is going to be their level and whether or not that student athlete is going to be an asset to their program in the future. Once they have established that, these secondary or these other ways of looking at the college recruitment process from a student athlete's perspective, things that are not easily measured, right? Like some of the things you just mentioned, they're going to be really impactful in this highlight video, but it's just going to be impactful later on down the road, if that makes sense. If you have two athletes that are great athletically, academically, and the tiebreaker, there's got to be something. We're going to look at, well, are they respectful? Are they good in front of the camera? Are they going to represent my program exceptionally well?
No, that's a great answer. It's always curious. I'm always curious to learn kind of like what people think or what coaches' thought processes are when it comes to all this. And obviously what you're doing with RFX is fantastic. We're extremely excited about this new partnership, and we appreciate you stopping on by here this morning and being a part of what we were talking about here today. So, Elliot, thank you very much for joining us. We'll hope to have you on here. We actually, as part of this partnership, we are going to be highlighting players from RFX on our network. And so with that opportunity in our games, in this program, we'll be able to showcase players and give them an opportunity to get that exposure that gives them just the opportunity to give themselves one step ahead of everybody else. So we're excited about that opportunity as well, and we're excited about this partnership.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. It's a pleasure.
No, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll have you back
Appreciate
on
your
here in
time.
the future.
Yeah.
But good luck to
Take
you.
care. All right.
So Nathan, man, it's a cool partnership.
I love his mentality around getting away from D1 or bust. You know, with being in a pay-to-play system in the United States, this is kind of inherently the issue. Is you exist in an atmosphere where, again, if the price is right, people are going to tell you that you're good enough to play at the highest level. People are going to tell you that you're good enough to go to this place or that place, and no one's going to tell you any different. And again, it comes down to how much access to resources do you have? How much can you give me? You know, what have you done for me lately? That seems like the kind of the environment that we're in. And I've seen that play its way out in different sports as well. You know, you just have people who have more access to more resources, which means they're told that they're far better than what they actually are. And I forget what his line is. Expectations are pre-built-in disappointments, or there you go, premeditated for resentment. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. We're building up these dreams in these kids' heads that you are going to be here, you're going to be in this league, you're going to be, which I'm all for chasing that. I'm not telling anybody not to chase that, but to provide a platform in which student athletes can, for a price, be able to place themselves in an environment where they can play every single day, regardless of whether or not that's in the ACC or if it's in the Crossroads League in the NAI. It really doesn't matter to me. What matters is that you're on the field. What matters is that you're getting minutes and you're giving yourself an opportunity to prove yourself. And then if you want to utilize those other things that we have built into the college experience, like a transfer portal or something else, we know that accessibility and the ability to go side to side is far easier in college athletics now than it ever has been. So allowing these athletes the opportunity to have a platform, to find a coach, to find a situation that fits them. And then if you want to switch it up past then, well, then fine, that's on you. But I understand that parents want the best for their kids. I understand these athletes want to go to the highest level, but to have that platform to where you can find the spot that fits you. And then again, if you're on the field, if you're producing, well, then we can talk about going other places. But getting away from that D1 or bust mentality, I think, is the most important thing for these student athletes, because I don't understand it. There's good players at all levels, and there's no reason why that should tear away at your confidence if you have to go to Division II or III or whatever it is. We've seen success stories come out of every single level of soccer here in the United States. So I think that's the coolest part about what they offer as a company.
No doubt. No doubt. We are going to come back up here and talk Mac Herman watch list. Both men's and women's were announced here. Men's were yesterday, women's were last week. We'll dive into that, and we'll do the question of the day on the other side of this break. You're watching episode 143 of Inside the Game.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs. From high-quality production to exceptional coverage, we ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today. Call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast and let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Welcome back here into Inside the Game here on this Friday morning weekend, right around the corner. And Nathan, we just got done talking about recruiting, and what better way to segue into, from recruiting into college soccer, talking about the best players in the country.
The perfect transition.
So, Ryan, first off, I want to bring you in because I know we just finished this whole thing up with recruiting. We're going to segue into this, the Mac Herman watch list, which were announced here the last couple of days. Did you have aspirations of playing college soccer?
Yeah, I did at some point. Just never really I went on one visit, but it's not really what I wanted to do in terms of the school, and they didn't have a broadcasting program. And then as I got into my Central Michigan career, I realized that I'm kind of happy not playing college soccer, just because I had a real big passion for broadcasting, and I did play a little bit of club soccer at Central Michigan. So played Michigan State.
Fire up.
Fire up, absolutely. All those different ones. But yeah, absolutely. I do like the platform that they're bringing, because it is so difficult to, for some people to kind of get their name out there. You kind of have to, unless you're for instance, just thinking of it here local, like if you're a number 1 overall recruit like Belleville had in Underwood, last year, like that creates your own buzz, just, being that type of an athlete. But, soccer, you don't get that publicity right away. And you kind of had to create your own buzz, and I think they're doing a great job over there.
Do you know that you still know the CMU fight song, Ryan?
Do I know the CMU fight song?
Yeah, do you know the fight song? I just sang I use the other day.
CMU, though?
Yeah, I had to hear it every. To be honest, I probably don't know the word for word, because I was the P. Because whenever I would hear it, because when I would hear it,